Hello, everyone. I'm Betty. I want to share a significant chapter of my life that involved intense challenges with my in laws and my husband while navigating a divorce. I hope my story resonates with those who have faced undue criticism from their in laws. It all began when I met Kevin, my now estranged husband, on a dating app. I was a 20-year-old college student, and Kevin was 26, employed, and stable. Despite our age difference, we fell in love. I've always believed that love isn't bound by age or looks, so Kevin being older never bothered me. However, Kevin was troubled by our age gap. He often questioned why I was with him, suggesting that I could find someone closer to my age who might be a better match. I chose Kevin because I loved him, and for me, age was just a number. Despite my reassurances, Kevin's insecurities persisted. He would say, "There must be another reason, Betty. It's not usual for someone like you to love someone like me. I wish you'd just tell me the real reason." I repeatedly assured him that my feelings were genuine and that I wasn't interested in dating someone my age. I loved him, and that's what mattered to me. Even though I tried my best to prove my affection, Kevin's self-doubt lingered, hinting at deeper self-esteem issues that seemed to have kept him single before we met. Eager to demonstrate my commitment, I made sure never to let Kevin spend excessively on me. While managing my finances as a college student, I wasn't wealthy, but I made thoughtful gifts and handled my expenses independently through part-time jobs. Kevin seemed to appreciate these efforts, but sadly, his insecurities didn't fade. It took 3 years for me to fully understand the origins of Kevin's issues when I met his parents, Samuel and Charlotte. Samuel, Kevin's father, had a dramatic change in fortune after winning the lottery. This newfound wealth brought a sense of superiority. During our first meeting, Samuel bragged about his success, saying, "Not everyone makes it big like me. I was just a hard worker, and look where it got me. Winning the lottery on my first try is rare." Samuel and Charlotte were proud of their wealth and often implied that Kevin, despite his college education, would never reach their level of financial success. Charlotte suggested that Kevin's previous partners were only interested in his money and left him as soon as they were financially better off. They openly doubted Kevin's ability to make good decisions, which infuriated me. It seemed like they painted every woman Kevin dated as a gold digger, and over time, Kevin began to believe this narrative himself. Their insinuation that I was just another gold digger became an embarrassing and hurtful part of their story. Fed up with their baseless assumptions, I stood up for both Kevin and myself. "I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. Kevin has worked hard to establish his career and will achieve even greater success in time." Samuel retorted, "That doesn't change the fact that women only want him for money. The money we have is ours, but Kevin does co-own the house. Eventually it will be his. Every time these girls see our $350,000 house." I felt a surge of frustration. "I swear, they just see dollar signs," I said, unable to hold back. "I can't speak for Kevin's past relationships, but I'm definitely not in this for the money. I love your son, and that's why we're together. I have no interest in your house." Charlotte's response was dismissive. "Don't worry, Betty. Sometimes it's hard to accept that people can be successful and live in nice houses. You live in a small rented apartment with roommates. You might start desiring it after spending time around our house." Their comments were pushing my patience to the limit. I was on the verge of losing my temper. Kevin heard everything but chose not to respond or defend himself, instead steering the conversation elsewhere. His indifference on the way home was unexpected and hurtful. Once we were home, I knew I had to address the issue directly with Kevin. "Kevin, your parents are being unfair and hurtful towards us. Why did you stand up for me?" Kevin sighed, his frustration evident. "What did you expect me to say, Betty? My past isn't exactly encouraging. I've been used before by people who only saw my parents' wealth and made plans for when they would inherit the house. Even if they're wrong about some things, it doesn't mean they're wrong about everything." The words stung. "Even if those women were after your money, that doesn't mean I am. It hurts that you stayed silent while your family insulted me." Kevin looked conflicted. "You know my family is wealthy now, and maybe they have a point. I'm not accusing you of having bad intentions, but I can see why it might look questionable to others. You don't have parents, and because of that, you might seem more reliant on my inheritance." His words were almost too much to bear. "What you're suggesting is absurd." "Kevin, I've never pressured you to spend on me. Not having an inheritance doesn't make me a gold digger." But Kevin remained stubborn, unwilling to see my perspective. "I love you, and that's what matters," Kevin said. dismissing any need for further discussion. While some might have found comfort in his declaration of love, I couldn't shake the feeling that he still harbored doubts about my intentions. I tried repeatedly to address the issue, even suggesting therapy to help him see things more clearly, but he refused, insisting there was nothing wrong. As time went on, I began to distance myself from his family. We got engaged right after I graduated from college, and I secured a decent job that allowed me to start saving for our wedding. We shared the wedding expenses equally and married when I was 23. However, the next 4 years of our marriage were rocky. Kevin frequently visited his parents and returned increasingly distant and upset. I knew Samuel and Charlotte continued to poison his mind, still branding me as a gold digger despite my pleas for him to reduce contact with them. Kevin persisted in seeing his parents often, and their negative influence began to deeply affect his view of our relationship. They convinced him that no one could truly love him for who he was. Despite my unwavering love over the years, Kevin's suspicion toward me never seemed to ease. The constant need to prove my sincerity became increasingly exhausting. The moment that truly tested us came on Kevin's birthday. Preferring a low-key celebration, we decided on a small cake party at our home, hoping to make his day special. I surprised Kevin with the expensive watch he had long admired. His excitement was palpable as he unwrapped it, but my heart sank when he suggested we show it off to his parents. Despite my hesitation, I reluctantly agreed. When we arrived, Kevin could hardly contain his enthusiasm. "Mom, Dad, look at this beautiful watch Betty got me. I've wanted it for so long. Isn't it stunning?" His pride was evident. Charlotte responded with a feigned surprise. "Oh, Kevin, it seems she does love you after all. We were quite worried for a while." But Samuel quickly interjected, "Don't be fooled, Charlotte. She's a gold digger. She married our son because of our $350,000 house. Let's not ignore the facts." I couldn't contain my frustration. "Excuse me, why do you think I married your son for your house? I've been working and living in an apartment for years. If age was a concern, why would I marry someone older unless I truly loved him? I assure you, I didn't marry Kevin for his money or your house. I married him because I love him. Surely Kevin can confirm that, right?" To my astonishment, Kevin remained silent. His reluctance to defend me in front of his accusing parents was deeply unsettling. I felt increasingly isolated as he avoided eye contact, sinking under their harsh assumptions. Pushed to my limit, I confronted him. "Kevin, why aren't you saying anything? Your parents have always labeled me a gold digger. How will they ever see the real me if you don't speak up? Why are you so quiet? Tell them they're wrong." Kevin's hesitation was palpable. I don't know what you want me to say, Betty. Maybe my parents aren't completely wrong. There might be a possibility." His words trailed off, but the implication was clear. His doubt and inability to stand by me were more than just misunderstandings. They were a fundamental crack in our relationship, casting a shadow over our love and my place in his life. The birthday celebration quickly soared as I faced accusations. "Are you serious right now, Kevin? You believe I married you for your assets?" I asked, incredulous. His parents chimed in, their suspicion clear. "Oddly enough, you've never talked about buying a house. Renting should be a temporary solution, not a long-term plan. You could never afford something like this on your own, so marrying Kevin and settling here seems more logical." Kevin looked at me with a mix of doubt and confusion. "Yeah, Betty, why would you marry me? You might have feelings for me, but I think there's more to it than just love." I was left speechless by their words. All the love and affection I had felt for Kevin seemed to evaporate in an instant. While his parents' skepticism was hurtful, it was Kevin's agreement that cut the deepest. At that moment, I resolved to end our marriage. I didn't reveal my decision immediately. Instead, I waited for the right moment. Once Kevin and I were back home, I contacted a lawyer and began the divorce process. The lawyer assured me that everything would be prepared within a week. Meanwhile, I moved into a separate room, giving myself some space. Kevin thought I was merely cooling off and had no idea of my intentions. When the divorce papers were ready, I packed my belongings and left. Kevin, clearly distressed, called me in a panic. I told him to meet me at a specific address and to bring his parents. Despite his confusion, he complied. When they arrived, I was waiting on the porch of a stunning house. Their expressions shifted to surprise as they took in the scene. "You must be wondering why I brought you here," I said, gesturing to the luxurious surroundings. It's a beautiful house, isn't it? No one can compare their home to this one. It's worth around $3 million in today's market. Quite expensive, right? The dramatic setting was my way of showing them that their accusations and suspicions were unfounded. I wasn't the person they thought I was, and I needed to make that clear in the most unforgettable way. But it's worth every penny, I continued, pointing to the lavish interior and furniture worth millions. What is this place, Betty? I don't understand why you have access to such a house, Kevin asked, puzzled. Why don't you all come in so we can talk properly? I suggested, brushing off their astonishment as I led them inside. Their eyes widened in awe at the opulent decor that greeted us. The owners had spared no expense in furnishing the home. As we settled into the plush sofas, I took a deep breath, ready to address the elephant in the room. I've made a decision, and that's why we're here, I said, handing Kevin the divorce papers. We can proceed with an uncontested divorce if you agree. Kevin's voice was a mix of confusion and concern. I don't understand. Why are you filing for divorce? It's simple, I replied, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside me. You and your parents think I'm a gold digger. You believe I married you for your house and your money. Despite everything I've said, you've refused to listen. It's better for everyone if I leave, sparing you from what you deem my gold-digging tendencies. Kevin's face showed disbelief. You're considering divorce just because my parents spoke what they believed to be the truth. That's ridiculous. I think it's for the best, I replied firmly. His mother, watching the exchange with an unreadable expression, chimed in. If she's so adamant, you should just sign the papers, Kevin. At least you can find someone who truly loves you. Kevin's suspicion grew. Why did you bring us to this house, Betty? Do you expect me to buy this for you as part of our divorce settlement? Why would I need you to buy this house, Kevin? It's already mine, I answered calmly, watching their shock and disbelief unfold. They looked at me as if I were joking. How on earth can you afford a house like this? You're renting, and your job isn't enough to cover something like this. Stop lying to us, Kevin's father demanded, his tone sharp with suspicion. Their disbelief was palpable, but I was ready to prove my independence and financial capability once and for all. I'm not lying, I asserted firmly, meeting their incredulous looks. Kevin, remember? When I mentioned that my parents had left me an inheritance, I explained that this house was part of it. It's held in a trust for now, but I will officially inherit it when I turn 31. I don't need to work a high-paying job because I have a trust fund waiting for me. That's impossible, Kevin interjected, his confusion palpable. Your parents passed away a long time ago. They should have given you the house earlier. My parents anticipated potential exploitation, I explained. They instructed me never to disclose the house or the trust fund. They wanted to protect me from people who might try to take advantage, so they put everything in a trust until I was older. Kevin's mother was astonished. Oh my God, Betty, you should have told us about your wealth. We had no idea you owned such a sizable house. We could all live very comfortably here. Yeah, you should have shared that sooner, Kevin added, looking relieved but somewhat embarrassed. We thought you were after our house. We could have avoided all the misunderstandings. I always knew Betty was perfect for Kevin, his father chimed in, his tone now markedly warmer. She's a great woman. Look how wealthy she is. Kevin found a great match. Their attitudes had shifted so quickly that it was almost dizzying. Even more bizarre was how they seemed to forget about the divorce papers I had brought. I pulled them out, signed them, and said, here's my signature for an uncontested divorce. You can just sign these to finalize things. If you want to fight, we can take this to court, but I won't be living with you anymore. Wait, Betty, listen to me. There's no need to rush this, Kevin pleaded. You've proven you're not a gold digger. There's no reason for a divorce anymore. We even apologize for the misunderstandings. That should make things better, right? Yes, Samuel is right, his mother added, her voice filled with regret. We're sorry we doubted you. Despite their apologies and sudden change of heart, the clarity of their initial judgments and accusations lingered in my mind. It reinforced my decision to leave a relationship where trust had to be constantly proved rather than freely given. I don't want your insincere apologies, I said firmly. For 3 years, you allowed your family to berate me and label me a gold digger. I expected you to defend me, but instead, you sided with them and even accused me of the same. I can't stay with someone who doesn't respect his wife. I'm done, Kevin. We can part ways amicably or involve the courts. The choice is yours. Charlotte and Samuel tried desperately to change my mind. pleading with me to overlook the past, but their lack of genuine remorse only fueled my anger. When I reached my breaking point, I demanded they leave before I called the police. My firm stance intimidated them, and they left without further argument. Over the next few weeks, Kevin and his parents continued to harass me. They begged, pleaded, and even offered bribes to persuade me to stay. Their belief that money could sway my decision only intensified my fury. It was a stark revelation of their persistent view of me as someone motivated by financial gain. Ironically, since Kevin co-owned the house with his parents, I was entitled to half of his share, which only fueled their desperation for reconciliation. Despite their relentless attempts, I remained steadfast in my decision to part ways. I relocated all my belongings to my parents' house, asserting my right to stay there even before officially taking ownership. Kevin and his parents persisted in their attempts to reach me, prompting me to change my phone number to avoid their constant calls. Kevin even attempted to discuss matters at my workplace, but security was informed in advance and asked them to leave. Kevin still hadn't signed the divorce papers, holding out hope for a change in my decision. Nearly a year has passed and the situation remains unresolved, a testament to the complexity and emotional depth of our entangled lives. With less than a year remaining until the legal process is concluded, I've managed quite well on my own, finding both happiness and financial stability. While I've gone on a few dates, I'm not considering anything serious at the moment. According to a cousin of Kevin, his family is now worried about having to pay me my rightful share of the house. The legal fees are mounting, and their savings are insufficient. Kevin is even advocating for selling the house, harboring resentment toward his parents for the upheaval they've caused in his life. At this point, I simply don't care about their dilemmas. My only goal is to be free from that toxic family and move on with my life, leaving the chaos and negativity behind.